I ain't even gonna lie with you yet.
We in there. We in there now.
We in the building now. We in the building now. So I'm gonna give it up to you. I'm gonna give it up to you guys. First things first, I'm gonna salute the divinity. And Chris Bend, I salute the divinity in you. I respect the divinity in you. Thanks for showing up with the beautiful infinite creators on the channel. Thanks for showing up. So yeah, we're gonna dive right into it. Introduce us to you. Tell us who you are, where you from. Give us the gist of it right quick.
Yeah. Well, what's up, y'all? My name is Chris Bender. I am a 26-year-old worship artist based in Boston, Massachusetts. I have had the privilege of sharing the stage with some of the world's greatest gospel artists in the world. And I currently have so many different hats that I wear. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a merchandiser. I'm a business owner. Entrepreneur extraordinaire on my way. I'm on my way there. I ain't there yet, but I'm on my way. But yeah, man, I just love inspiring people and pushing them into their destiny. And I think that's what my purpose on this earth is.
Cool. So a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, I ran into you at Logan Airport in Boston. All right.
I was literally running because I'm always late for my flight. I'm always late for my flight.
But there was a backup at the airport. So you must have got lucky that day.
You know, I have a terrible task. Like, I don't know how to pack. So like every time I got to go somewhere, which is almost every other week, I'm bringing a 65-pound bag for 2 days. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I got to have options. You know what I'm saying? Yes, but this specific night, right? I'm like, okay, Chris, don't do what you normally do. Don't keep fostering the same bad habits. If you don't have to drop $40 on a bag to check it, don't do it. Just pack a carry-on. So my carry-on turned into like a large size carry-on, a mid-size carry-on, a backpack, a wallet, and another carry-on. Like, yeah, so it just got crazy. But anyways, I was able to avoid having to check a bag, which saved me from having to miss that flight, because I know for sure I would have not ended up in Indianapolis if I would have been checking the bag that day, because it was crazy.
There you go. So take us on your early journey. How did you get into the music? Where did it start? And where did the passion come from?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, for me, music runs thick in my blood, man. Like, I can tell you that it goes back at least 2 or 3 generations. You know, I'm learning even more today about, you know, the generations that have gone before me of preachers and singers and artists and musicians. You know, and so my mother's baby brother was on his way. Actually, he was a world-known R&B artist that was untimely murdered in an untimely manner and had an untimely death here in the city of Brockton, where you know, he was based out of. You know, he was on his way, just dropped a couple of records. He was opening up for Michael and Luther and everybody else in between, and he was murdered. And so, unfortunately, we lost a piece of that greatness. You know, the tangible greatness, but we didn't lose the greatness because it's in our bloodline, right? And so here I come 2 years later, and you know, my journey is a little different because my uncle, you know, my uncle was based in and around the secular music and the secular industry, and for me, all of everything that I do is a part of sacred arts, you know, and so ministry has been the base and the foundation of my life, and so I've been able to journey through what it is that I'm supposed to do, what my purpose is, while honoring his legacy, but walking in my own shoes. So it's been a phenomenal journey, man.
Cool. So you got to have some broad shoulders to carry that with you. Man, you know what I mean? That's pretty much your name.
Yeah. It's you know, I'm his namesake, you know, and so I can't tell you how many times I've been randomly, you know, I've been pulled over by police because, you know, I drive a little fast. Just a little bit. I like to speed, but I'm working on it.
All right.
I've been pulled over by officers that have like looked at my license like, get out of here. I wish I would give you a ticket. Because of your name, I can't give you a ticket. So it's like, I carry so much of his legacy just based off of face value, you know, and so I try my hardest and my best to ensure that I honor that man, because although I didn't get a chance to meet him, that was my uncle, and I know if he was here, he'd be busting me in my head if I was doing something out the way, you know what I'm saying, because he would know, then he would make sure that I would understand that there's something greater to what we have than just our name. It's a legacy. And now that I'm in my you know, I'm crossing over into my late 20s now. about to throw up thinking about it. But now I'm crossing over into my late 20s. You know, I'm really starting to hone in on the idea of legacy and what is it that you're leaving behind? What is it that your children, when you have them, Chris, what are they going to be able to hear about you? What are people going to say about you to your kids, you know? And so just ensuring that I'm doing the best that I can to honor legacy, but still create and enjoy the path that has been carved out for me and me alone.
Cool. I like that. You was talking about your DNA and your makeup.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was sitting down with you one day and we were talking, and I asked you did you write your music?
Yeah.
You know, I know your uncle Frankie is a great writer. Yeah. I know Chris was a great writer. Yeah. And, you know, just listening to some of the music and understanding the music, how do you think that affects you? And do you think that you inherited that writing?
God, yes. God, yes. I mean, I wasn't able to share time with my uncle Chris, of course, because he had already transitioned. But my earlier years were saturated with time spent with my uncle Frankie, and so he would come over here with beat machines and synthesizers, and you know, let's go close there, let's go play the keyboard. I had a keyboard, you know what I'm saying? That's how I taught myself the keys, you know what I'm saying? And you know, those days of sitting with him and listening to his ability to just create out of literally nothing really started to develop something inside of me that I didn't know I had until I got, you know, later off in time. I started developing, you know, my own path and my own way, and you know, the writing and the production and understanding production and gaining my own sense of quality and style of music and what I want my music to sound like. All of that is built off of the backs of my Uncle Chris, my Uncle Frankie, my grandmother, you know, like the musicianship in this family, although it has gone unnoticed, right? It was very significant to those that were able to experience it.
Yeah, because I know I was reading an article one time, and Chris said some of his influence were like Donnie Hathaway and some of these guys, and he credited that to his dad.
Yeah.
As your grandfather.
My grandfather, I never, like, it's some of the most unforgettable experiences. Every summer we used to drive to Mississippi. Now that's about a 20-hour drive, Chris. That's a long time in a car with 50-year-olds. They don't like air conditioning and stuff like that. You know, it's just dumb stuff, you know. However, back on my bike, every year, man, my cousin Chanel and I, my cousin Chanel is my Uncle Chris's daughter, actually. Okay. We share so many memories of the songs and the records that my grandfather used to expose us to, the James Browns and the Joss Stones and the Luthers and the Shy-Lights and all of this great and rich music that also helped to develop who I am as a gospel artist. People are like, wait, what do you mean? You use secular music to enhance or to inspire your gospel career? Absolutely, silly rabbit. Because all of that, you know, I am significantly tied to my calling, but I'm also very much so aware of my gift. And the gift that I have is in music. Music is not based on one genre alone. It's based on a world of experiences that have been put into a body or bodies of work. And so all of those long rides back and forth to Mississippi in hot vans and stuff, all of that, it just grew on me, man. And it's developed the way that I articulate, the way that I produce, and all it has really shaped who I am. And I'm forever grateful for those experiences, man.
And how's your mother played an impact in your life?
My mother used to always challenge me to sing with her on Saturdays while she was cleaning the house, blasting Mary J. Blige, right? And so, you know, I was very shy until I was about 13. I didn't really do a lot of public singing. I always sung a lot in the house. She would come in the house, I'd be stomping and screaming and fake preaching somewhere, and she'd be like, Chris, what you doing? And I'm like, never mind, I'm playing. Don't worry about it, mind your business. But even listening to her sing, you know, and in the moments where, you know, my mother was usually like the family funeral singer. And so when somebody in the family passed, she'd be the girl to call, right? And so, you know, as I started growing up, she started passing her jobs to me.
Gotcha.
But, you know, she's always been a musical influence as well, because although my mother didn't have a front seat to it, it being the career of my Uncle Chris and my Uncle Frankie, she was woven that was her baby brother, you know, and she was always around singing backgrounds and being in the sessions and things of the nature. She was there, she was present. And so what she inherited from those moments, she then shared with me through her different expression of music as well.
Cool. So I had somebody, one of the guys asked me, what's gospel music? So if somebody asks you that question, what is gospel music, for the brothers over there,
Yeah.
and Belgium for the beautiful infinite creators
Yeah.
in Belgium, because we rock international.
Oh,
so,
Shut up.
So if they ask you, what is a gospel artist, could you explain that to them?
Absolutely. A gospel artist is an individual that shares the stories, right, of Christianity through song. Simple as that.
Cool.
Face value. Simple as that. The stories of sometimes, people say it's just the gospel of Jesus Christ, but the reality is gospel is based and rooted in Jesus Christ, right? And the life that he lived, in all of his miracles and the works that he's performed, right? However, gospel has also evolved into being able to share the stories of Christian believers that go through similar experiences as those of the secular world. Yeah, that's included in the gospel genre too. That's what you would call more of a contemporary gospel, right? However, songs like Stomp, Shackles, those songs don't really speak a lot about God in them, but we all know, based on the experiences in the story in the song, that God is woven all through it.
I gotta give you I gotta give you a round of applause for that one, because
thank you, sir.
You handled that pretty well. I like your the description of that for us, and definitely I could appreciate that. But I'm gonna play one song for you, and then I'm gonna let you give us a little bit about what the song is about, and you can give us your take on it.
This song's for all my praisers out there. Let's do it together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Got a song I want to teach you. A song about the blood. Lord, we thank you for your sacrifice. Listen, without the blood of Jesus, there will be no remission of sin. We overcome that by the blood, by the word of a testimony. On the cross, he hung his head. He died, he gave his life for me. Our Lord and Savior, he reigns forever. One of the fears of God. Nobody else let's take from the top. Let's go. Without the come on, Shirley. You say I need somebody on this song.
So I was listening to this song, and I'm gonna tell you, I had to. I was cleaning up. I had to start cleaning up. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So you took me there. You took me there. You took me back to my roots. You know, because a lot of it's my roots. You know, me growing up in church and growing up with gospel music. This is what my mother used to clean the house to. And immediately you put me in the mind of Fred Hammond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can hear the Fred Hammond. And what are some of your influences from gospel artists, some of the gospel artists? And elaborate on this song for us. Who wrote it? How did it come about? Talk to us about it.
Cool. Well, we'll start with the song, right? So the inspiration behind the Blood song, let's see. I was leading worship at a church, right? I was working at a church, and my Sunday to lead worship directly was always Communion Sunday. And it used to drive me insane because I felt like it was the longest service that any man had ever had to sing it. Ever. I swear, I was thinking like I would be singing for like, good Lord, for at least 2.5 hours straight. It's like, good, are y'all done drinking this juice and eating these crackers? Because I can't even drink mine and eat mine. Hurry up. Right? And so one day, man, it was an incredible experience. And you know, the power of God was in the church, in the room, and that's usually where my songs start, right? I don't really start writing just sitting I can't just sit in my office or in this room or anywhere and just start writing music. It's very hard for me to do it like that. I have to be inspired by the Holy Spirit, right? And so as I was that day, walking around the church, where I just got through singing for 2 hours, by the way, I got through killing myself. And so I'm like just dragging. Somebody walk me to my seat, please. I'm just carry me, God. But while I'm walking to the seat, I start hearing the melody of the song, right? And I start hearing the lyrics as well. And you know, usually for me, I either hear lyric first or melody. I don't usually get them at the same time. When I get lyric and melody at the same time, I know it's something special. I know that there's something about the song that's really supposed to do something for more than just the person that's writing it. So, you know, I started writing the song, completed writing the song, and called some of my guys in. You know, Sean Alexander was the producer of the record. Sean and I go back about, good Lord, almost 15 years, you know, when our churches used to fellowship together in the same organization, you know, and we worked together in the same church as well. So it only made sense for him to do the record. I actually did a live recording and performed the song in 2017, didn't release the song to 2019 though. I went through a space where it kind of was like, yeah, whatever. I don't really want to do this music stuff no more. It gives me too much of it. It gives me anxiety, it gives me a headache. I just don't like dealing and jumping through hoops, shoots, and ladders. I can't do all that. That's too much for me. I don't want this like that no more. I'm good. And, you know, through some forceful encouragement from my staff and my team was like, no, you're going to release the song. You don't have no choice. And so literally it was like, all right, whatever, we'll do it. And so we recorded the song and released the song on Easter Sunday, which was like very strategic for me. It's like, if I'm going to do it, it has to make sense. And so of course, it was like the anthem of Easter Sunday in 2019. That's what everybody was playing on their way to church and things of that nature. The song placed, I think, number 23 on Billboard charts, and did extremely well. Actually, received a Grammy nomination also for the song as well. So, you know, the song did extremely well, and I'm grateful that, you know, again, that I get the opportunity to just thank you.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, but you know, I'm really grateful that, you know, I get to hear, man. You know, like people don't really take for granted how precious just the senses are, man. The ears to hear, and like sometimes you can be driving. I can be driving and look at something that inspires me to write a song. I could be, you know, I could be touching a fabric, man. Like I'm telling you, this creative enzyme is really strange at times. I can be touching something that feels good, and I can start thinking about lyrical content according to what I'm feeling in the moment, you know, and especially because I'm a feeling based inspirational artist or gospel artist, if you will. I like to make and create music that you're gonna feel. You ain't gonna just hear it, but you're gonna feel my music, because that's the intention behind how I produce it and put it together.
Okay. and some of the artists who inspired you?
Sure. Let's see. I tell people all the time, every interview that I do, this is always what I go through. I go through this. It's like my grandfather message, right? So my first 3 CDs that I purchased, right, were Mary Mary, Thankful, Donnie McClurkin, Live in London, and Judith McAllister. A lot of people don't know her, but she's actually like a very prominent piece of gospel, right? Judith McAllister, Send You the First. Those 3 records I played consistently for at least, I don't know, maybe at least a year or 2, just consistent, to the point where if I played any one of those CDs to this very moment, I'd be able to give you verbatim everything that's on it. Everything. I'd be able to sing lyric, melody, chimes. I can give you everything that's going on. Everything that's going on, I can tell you. Oh my gosh, I can tell you everything that's going on in those songs and in those records, because those records really helped to shape who I was to become in the gospel sense, or in the gospel industry. Send You the First taught me the effectiveness of understanding moments in praise and worship and things of that nature. Live in London, Donnie McClurkin taught me how to, and not directly, indirectly, he taught me how to stand flat-footed and be able to sing a song and be able to sell an audience on what you believe through song. And Mary Mary, that record, Thankful, taught me that it was okay to be unconventional. It was okay to be out of the box and evolve and create and start and strike an evolution for gospel. Like, all of those records put together helped to create who I am today.
Cool. Kurt Franklin in there at all?
No. I listen to a lot of Kurt Franklin, but I listen to a lot of Kurt Franklin because Kurt Franklin's just amazing. You know what I'm saying? He's just amazing. He was also a game changer. He is a game changer.
So I'm gonna go here for you.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
You see this, right?
Here we go. Let's go to it.
That's your hand. Thank you kindly. But I'm going to have to order one more thing on that second order. All right. If you can give me just one Oreo Blizzard, add strawberries and cookie dough, and a little walnut for me, please. Blend it up real good. I'll take a medium. Thank you so much.
Okay, so you're gonna have to repeat it for me. So medium, Oreo.
That is correct.
And what else would you want in it?
Add a little cookie dough and strawberry and walnut, please.
Strawberries,
And walnuts.
we got pecans. Is that okay?
I'll take a pecan.
All right. Anything else crazy tonight?
You know what? Can you put a little bit of that red velvet? That's your hand.
I'm gonna let it go again.
Kindly. But I'm going to have to order one more thing on that second order.
All right.
If you can give me just one Oreo Blizzard, add strawberries and cookie dough, and a little walnut for me, please. Blend it up real good. I'll take a medium. Thank you so much.
Okay, so you're gonna have to repeat it for me. So medium, Oreo.
That is correct.
And what else would you want in it?
Add a little cookie dough and strawberry and walnut, please.
Strawberries,
And walnuts.
we got pecans. Is that okay?
I'll take a pecan.
All right. Anything else crazy tonight?
You know what? Can you put a little bit of that red velvet cake?
All right, talk to us about this, because most people don't know you went viral on this video right here. You went viral. The Godfather was posting you. Snoop Dogg was posting you. So talk to me. How did this happen? How did that come about?
Well, man,
show the beautiful infinite creators how that happened.
You know, I'm a very passionate person about everything that I do, right? And so, just as passionate as I am about, you know, my assignment to the world as a minister of the gospel through song, right? I take a great pride and delight and joy in my character, right? My personality, and I don't like talking about myself, right? But if I'm gonna do it, I guess I'll do it like this. Right? My personality is infectious, and I get that from my grandparents. They're 2 people that when they walk in the room, you just can't forget them. But if you stay in that room long enough, your stomach is going to be in knots because they're hilarious. And the stuff that comes out of their mouth, it's like, how would you even, what are you thinking about? Where does that come from? Why is it? I get that from them, right? And spending years with them. So, I take great pride and delight and joy in clowning and having a great time. And I love to laugh. And there's going to be very few times, there are very few times in my life where I do not laugh. There's going to be something funny in every room, in every scenario, something is going to make me laugh. And if I'm laughing, the whole room got to be laughing. I don't laugh by myself. I don't believe in that.
Well, thank you for sharing that with the world, because like I said, when I saw it, I was surprised. I was surprised, and I called my wife. I was like, Sandra, look at this. It's Chris. It's Chris.
Now Auntie Sandra wants me to go with her to McDonald's to order her food. It's like, okay, Auntie Sandra, fine. I'll go to McDonald's to order your food. But that video actually, people don't understand the power of social media. You know what I'm saying? And so I have been very intentional about everything that I've done over the last 10 years in hopes of building a brand and a name that is worth something, not to people, but to the sake of the commitment that I made to this industry, or to the name and to the brand that I hold, and to my legacy, right? And so, when you have things like this happen, I tell you, literally, it changed a lot of things for me. Not too much, not terribly, right? I'm still driving the same little 2020 I was driving before. I ain't bought my Bentley yet or nothing like that. However, it has put me in a different light. It's giving people an understanding that I'm not just a stiff. People get this weird thought process on who Christians are. They're just stiff-necked, chauvinistic, judgmental cowards. And it's like, no, we're actually very authentic, real, and we like to have a good time and laugh too. Because I do. I know a couple of Christians that are a little stiff, right? However, that's not us all. And this is ministry for me, bro. Like, if there's people, if somebody watches that video, they're like, oh my God, this guy is funny. Where is he at? Who is he? They look for me. They search me. They find my hashtag or my name, and they search my profile. And then they go to my profile and they hear the gospel being sung. What better way, And so everybody has a different avenue of how they win the souls of the lost for this great mission, right? And this is a part of my mission. This is a part of the methodizations that I use to make sure that everybody knows about this man named Jesus. That's it.
How did you know, and when did you know that this was your journey and this was your path?
Very young age, man. I would say right around like 8 or 9. I've always been very, very I've always been very advanced and before my time. I tell people all the time, like, I think I did at least 33 years on earth, like Jesus did before I came out the womb, because all this stuff is like, so I'm a seasoned young guy, right? I have a lot more wisdom than the average 26-year-old. I spend my days counseling 40 and 50 and 60-year-olds, and I got my grandparents calling me like, "What you think about this? How would you do this? How would you handle it?" And it's a delight for me because this is a part of what I do. It's a part of what I'm supposed to do. It's a part of my purpose, and it helps to feed the very thing that keeps me creative and keeps me going. Saying the understanding that there's a need that people have that I possess all day long, and so I think since about 8 or 9 years old, man, 7, 8, 9, something like that, somewhere in there. I was young, I was still trying to figure out what cologne was at that time, So I was very young when I understood that ministry was my purpose and ministry was my assignment, and that all multiple purposes around it were a part of what I needed to grab hold of as well. So yeah.
Have you ever been called an old soul?
Oh, please. I was called old. They've been calling me old since I was like 2, what I'm saying? Like, I came out the womb, I was like 45, what I'm saying? Like, what's up, dude? Like, what's going on, y'all? Y'all all right? Everybody good? Y'all got water? All right, cool. Take me to the room so y'all can wipe me down. I need to wash up. I've been say it like to say, you know what I'm saying? I've been deemed an old man or an old soul. You know, high school, they used to, all the principals and the faculty of the high school used to call me grandpa. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was affectionately known as grandpa. You know what I'm saying? Now, that didn't give me the A's and the B's, and I was still walking around, you know, having to do extra homework after school and stuff like that. However, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knew me as grandpa, and, you know, they've always attributed my character to being one that's much older than what I actually am. And it's a joy, man. It's a part of my life. I don't run from that. I embrace it. There was a time where I used to be made to feel like that was something that I wasn't supposed to be. However, now, oh, please get out of here. I'm old. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? But no, I embrace it now. I embrace it because I know that there's a significance in the wisdom that I carry. And it's meant for the world, man. And it shows me every day. I learn every day more and more about what I am supposed to be doing.
Do you ever feel like you've been here before?
Yeah. There's some life experiences that I experienced, and I'm like, oh, it hurts, but I feel like I felt this before. Good grief, you know. I think life is. I've always lived a life, right, that I've always tried to be as close to earth as possible, right? But sometimes with being close to earth, you know, if the plane get too low, you know, it's gonna start bouncing back and forth up and down off the ground. You know what I'm saying? And I think that level of ruggedness I've experienced as well. You know what I'm saying? And those experiences have all been those of which that have made me feel like, oh my God, this is why am I maneuvering through this so easily? You know, there's some people that wouldn't be able to walk a mile, literally. And I know people say that all the time, but I mean, wouldn't be able to walk a mile in my shoes. And I think a part of that is just that level of wisdom and grace that I've been given. That allows me to handle things a lot more easier than most people do. Doesn't mean that I don't hurt like people hurt. It doesn't mean that I don't get stressed out and frustrated and have anxiety and anxiety attacks and get depressed like everybody else. It happens to me too. However, I have a different compass than most people do.
I remember being on my early journey in Boston, and I ran into this phenomenal bass player. I mean, this guy was unbelievable. And his name was Leo Akiko. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. This guy was unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Wow.
And come to find out, he played on your uncle's stuff. So this boy was in Roxbury, and I mean, I was about 19 or 20 at the time, going to Roxbury in studios, and I ran into and I mean, hands down the best bass player I ever seen. Was a genius. And then I don't know if you know who Tyrell Calloway is.
I do know Terrell Calloway, yes, sir.
I ran into him last week. Wow. I was shooting something as far as work, and I ran into him. But it was just like Randy Schwapswire, guys like that. You know, I knew his sister, but that's another story. But you talk about the impact and your influence on music. Where do you see your music going in the next 10 years, let's say?
You know, that's an interesting question, right? And it's an interesting question because of this one thing, right? My only desire is for people to be inspired by what I write, produce, and sing. All the other stuff is asinine to me, because you know why? You can. I mean, accolades galore. People calling your name and throwing roses and flowers and slippers and carrot sticks at you, and they just singing your praises, and you still don't believe what they see in you. You feel what I'm saying? The external or materialistic affirmation that comes from the world, man, it doesn't hold you steady. It doesn't. You know, it feels good, but it doesn't hold you steady. And so I think for me, the next 10 years, man, I think that, of course, I'm gonna put out some more great music, and it's gonna do extremely well, and the world's gonna love it, and the world's gonna be singing it, and I'll be singing it around the world. However, I think more intentionally, I want to be able to, in the next 10 years, really start developing other young artists coming up and giving them the keys to this thing called industry, because it's tough. It's tough. And if you are not grounded, if you don't have the right set of people around you, if you don't have the right voices in your ear, you will be going down a very long road, very, very fast, and it's going to be hard for you to return back to the base. And so I think for the next 10 years, I plan on really, with my music, I plan on utilizing music as the tool to start developing and instructing and facilitating the success of other people coming up that need that hand, because I needed that hand too. I needed that.
I'm going to salute that. I think that's a noble goal. I think that's a worthy goal to work for when you're not just reaching back, but mentoring.
Yeah.
Mentoring. Do you have any mentors? Was there anybody who mentored you?
Do I have mentors?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you'll be surprised, right? So there's individuals that I would ascribe to in my later years as mentors, or that have had a lot of mentor-like moments with me, or we've had a lot of mentor-like moments together. But growing up, man, I was, I wasn't leaving my grandmother's sight. I was either with my mama at home or I was at grandma and grandpa's house. That's it. That's all I had. And so, that level of security, to some degree, prohibited me from being able to venture out to hearing and receiving the understanding from the outside world, which I had to grow into. And so I had to hit my head a couple of times because there was a piece of the real world that I missed because I was so sheltered. But growing up, coming through college, I remember one specific time I went to school in Texas, and we had a chapel. And so this chapel Tuesday, they weren't having a normal service. They would just, if any students wanted to have prayer, come and get prayer with the chaplain, right? So I kneel with the chaplain. I'm crying. She's like, "What's up? What you need prayer for?" I'm like, "I don't have any mentors," right? Going through it. And so she's like, "Chris, the greatest mentors that you have and will ever have will be found in the pages of the Bible. Read it. Read it. Read it. And everything else." But seriously, she got me together, in the church where we call it rebuking. She was like, "No, you don't need all that, because before you can hear the voice of any man, you need to hear the voice of God, and let that voice be the guide, and let that voice be the compass through these dark days. And he'll send you people that will give you pieces of understanding and wisdom that will very much so coincide with what he's been telling you the whole time." And so my life has been governed by pretty much me. And so there's some people that come in and out of my life for seasons, right, as they're supposed to, that I really do appreciate. But there's no one person that, it takes a village to raise a child. It certainly takes a community to build a brand, and it definitely takes a world to build a legend. And so at this point, there's many people in this world that have touched my life and that have been they've been very resourceful or helpful, or they've been wise counsel for me in very unfamiliar or uncharted territories or spaces. And so I salute everybody that has been a part of my journey, that has been there with the hopes and the expectations that I will be better from being connected with them.
Cool. Are there any books or anything that you could share with the beautiful infinite creators that's helped you along your path and along your journey?
Yes. The Bible is one. Right? The Bible is one, but that's for my faith. Everybody ain't gonna read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. It's all right. Because you got yours, I got mine.
Absolutely.
My Bible is my number one, right? And then my number two, man, is a book called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. It has been one of the most it has been one of the most world-shaping books that I've read. And I think I'm diving back into it even again because it was so good. It helped to break down a lot of the traditional barriers of understanding that I thought were like fortified in this rock of truth, when the reality is a good deal of some of the stuff that I inherited as understandings when I was younger, they weren't concrete. In other words, they weren't what you take to the bank and say, this is all that it's supposed to take, right? They were preferential understandings. And so for me, I've had to do a lot of like curse breaking, if you will. Not curse breaking, but, you know, just barrier breaking. That's what I would call it. You know, being able to look at something and say, okay, I know that worked for every generation before me, but I am a generational breaker. I'm a curse breaker. I'm supposed to break down these generational walls and these barriers. And if I keep processing life as my ancestors and my mom and my grandparents, I'm going to be them. And that's not my purpose. My purpose is not to duplicate. My purpose is to recreate and to evolve.
I'm gonna salute you. I'm gonna salute you.
You know, I mean, honestly, you know, a lot of times we have such a strong allegiance to our families, you know, and we don't understand that sometimes our families can be the most toxic thing. Not my family, not my family. Not my family. But sometimes our families can be a little toxic, like, or just be a little off. Like, why do you think like that? You know, one of the biggest things in my family is they are so fearful of everything. I've never known people that now will fight you in a second, but they fear. I've never seen it, right? But you know, it's the idea. You know, when I started traveling and touring and ministering across the world, my first international tour, all my family almost died. All of them almost died at one time. Hey, y'all, I'm going to Europe. What? You're going to Europe? Why are you going to Europe? For what? It's dangerous out there. Grandma, somebody just got killed up the street. Like, I mean, the danger's all around. Like, if it's gonna happen, dog. Like, we ain't gonna sit here and I've always and I've had to continuously drive this into their brains. If something is going to happen to me, it's supposed to happen. So I'm never gonna be governed by the what if factor, because what if is going to leave me stuck. Can't be stuck. That's it.
Yeah, but they're protecting theirs. You could understand.
Oh, they're overprotective.
Okay.
My grandmother didn't let me go into we would go to the beach and all the other cousins would be in the water and I would get ready to put my big toe down. She's like, you better not put your foot in that water. Like,
you're a baby, man. What you want? What you expect, man?
You know, they used to call me Baby Jesus.
Come on, man. What you expect, man?
You used to call me Baby Jesus. So I mean, you know, and then, you know, and growing into this space that I'm in now, I understand what it was even more. You know, so I used to just call it overprotective, overbearing, too much, extra. You know, now they were trying to preserve one of the last of the Mohegans, man. They seen what I didn't see in myself. You know, they understood that there was greatness attached to who I was supposed to, not just the name, but who I was supposed to be. And they did. And when I look back at it now, they might not have had all the tools to make sure that it was a holistic life, but they did the best that they could to ensure that they protected what was an investment for them. I was an investment.
Facts.
And I think they did a great job, man.
I do too. I salute them. I salute the
Shout out to my mom and my grandparents and my aunts and them. You know, make sure I stayed in line. They didn't let me go to no parties. I couldn't go with the cousins and go to the fairgrounds on the 4th of July. I couldn't do all that. No, bro.
Hey.
But you know what? A part of that that's been a part of my rule of discipline too. Like the mantra is, they might, but you can't. You got something different on you, bro. And so you can't do what everybody else do. I know you might want to. You might even sneak out and do it every now and then. They're not letting me find out because they can. But you're not supposed to, because there's something bigger and there's something greater that you're supposed to do, and you can't do it trying to be like everybody else.
And they know that. Yeah. What's your take on reincarnation? Give me that for a second. Let me see what's your take on it.
Oh, I believe that we are born to die. And I'm very firm in that. You know, I believe that we all at one point will have to experience some level of transition, but it's not forever. I believe that at one point in time when it's all over, I believe that we are all going to be resurrected back with Jesus, and that is where we will spend eternity. That is not just my grandmama's gospel, right? But that's a gospel that I've lived to embrace and to look forward to myself. That's my hope. That is the mantra of why I do what I do every day. That is the reason why I can't go to the club 24/7 and get tore up with the rest of them, you know, because this is my life's purpose. My life's purpose is to, one, always redirect everybody back to Jesus Christ, and then two, always remind people that we're living for a greater life to come. This one isn't the end for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like this scripture you actually had. Many are called, but few are chosen.
Very few are chosen.
You know, define that for me. What's your take on that?
Good one. I like it. For me, this task, okay, if we're gonna let's use layman's terms, right?
Yeah, break it down.
If we're looking at my story, right? Everybody is not meant to leave college to come back home to confusion in their mind about what their purpose is, all for 5 years later to be one of the most successful independent artists in the country. So some of y'all need to stay in school. Some of y'all gonna stay in school. You know what I'm saying? That's the world. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get your degree right now. I gotta go back and get mine. I had a little more to do in the time frame, right? So that, you know, many are called, fewer chosen. Many are called to go to school, right? But some are chosen to withdraw because they got some other assignments that they got attached to their life and to their purpose that must be fulfilled. And if they don't do it in the timing, in the divine timing, okay, right? That's what we'll go with. If they don't do it in the divine timing that's been set for them to accomplish it, they might miss it, but the people that are supposed to be positively impacted by it might not get what they need. You know, it's the life of a servant.
Cool.
Life of a servant.
A servant. So be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah.
I know you've heard that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's your take? So the more you know, right? The more you know, the more you grow. Supposedly, right? Yeah,
sure.
So can you share? Can you elaborate? No, forget that. I'm gonna back it up for a second.
Okay, come on with it.
Give me something that you live by. Like, what's your life verse? You know, because I had a life verse. I'm gonna tell you how.
My life verse is it's Romans 8:18. It's for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed. What does that mean to me? It means that every terrible thing that comes to you, everything that you would wish you would never had to experience, there's something better coming down the line that's going to make it all make sense. And that scripture gives me, it helps to induce or reproduce a level of hope and faith, right? Not just in God, but in myself. That, you know, although God got me, I'm also going to be all right. And another great one for me is that he'll never put more on you than you can bear. You know, I was reading that the other day and was just like, oh, I'd have heard it 600 times. Stuff just starts making so much more sense to me once one of my best friend's moms, her name is Chocolate. She used to tell me all the time, we used to have a conversation and I'd be like, oh, that ain't nothing. She'd look at me with a serious face and say, you know what? You keep living and you're going to see what I'm talking about. And literally do everything that she said. I have been like, called her like, yo, mom, she was right, dude. He was right. But understanding that, you know, anything, he'll never put more on you than you can bear. It one speaks to the greatness of God, right? And then two, it speaks to the strength of you. Right? Like, if he gonna give you some stuff, he's also going to give you, or if he's gonna give you stuff, you need to be confident in the fact that he's not giving you stuff that you ain't capable of handling. You got this. And so every day, one of my affirmations to myself, I look in this bathroom mirror, standing here with my cell phone full of notes, and I go and I affirm myself every day. And one of them is, my season is now, and I can do this, and I'm never gonna back down. Every day, not backing down.
Sweet. That's cool. What's the number 3 song that you had digitally on Billboard?
That was Glad in It, boy. Oh, yeah. Glad in It puts a smile on my face. Glad in It is my most recent release. Released it last summer. And yeah, she did extremely well. I mean, in 4.5 months, she was pushing almost 750,000 streams worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah.
She talk about her like that's your baby.
She placed number 3. She placed number 3 on the Billboards. That song, man, that song make me cry every time I talk about it because that song is my life story. I wrote every line of that song based on where I was.
Well, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Let's check it out.
So many of us are going through. Your burdens get so heavy, you don't know what to do. But I've been sent on assignment to encourage you. You can't give up now, you have so much to do. What's you do in the cloud? But I've been sent to remind you, you have to get it done. When you leave me pressure, here's what you gotta say. Yeah, let's say, come on, let's go. I will be glad. I will be glad. Yeah. Oh, come on, put your hands on it. I will be glad. Let's go to verse 2. Give it to me like this. So many things are going wrong. Yeah, but these trials come to only make you strong. The Father really needs you to keep holding on and keep a praise on your lips. He wants you to quit tonight. Listen, he wants you to go in the trial. But I've been to remind you, your help is here to go. Whenever you get in trouble, here's what you gotta say. Yeah, I will be good. Oh, come on, I need to see you move. I will be good. Yeah, I will be good. Come on, let's say it one more time. I will be good. Nothing good to a job. I will be good. I got the joy of the Lord. I will be good. Yeah, I will be good. Right here, everybody clap on. Yeah, that's it. It's time to celebrate. Because our God is fighting for us. Everybody clap on. Everyone's clap. We come to we say, even on the bad days, I will. Even on the bad days, I will. You say, even on the bad days, everybody say, everybody clap your hands. Oh, come on, I hear you sing it. I got the joy of the Lord. Yeah, I got the joy of the Lord. This joy, the word is given to me.
There you go. Glad in it. Glad in it. I salute you on that one again.
That's my baby right there, boy.
I mean, you call it your baby. You said it's your girl. Talk to me. I know being an artist or being a musician, you know, we tend to call, you know, we tend to have a personal attachment to certain things that we do. So explain to me why this is your girl, right?
Oh man, this song, man. I have been through maybe 2 or 3 very, very traumatizing experiences in my life, man. I wrote her. She is a whole person. You hear me? I wrote her. I wrote Glad in It in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
2019, but I didn't release it till the summer of the pandemic, and I did that after losing almost everything, including my mind, man. Like I was so just, I was broken, man. Imagine this song and me releasing it broken, like messed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, you know, this song has been medicine, bro. Like I can't, you know, of course I got a therapist and I pray and all that good stuff, but this song, I've played this song with tears in my eyes and made myself sing it until I believed it. You know, I'm a very strong man. I take a lot, right? But every man has a breaking point. Every man has a breaking point. And this song God gave me, I don't believe he just gave it to me for the world, because the world was hurting in 2020 in July. We're still hurting right now. But this song God gave me, handmade and particularly for myself. And so every time I sing it, man, I sing it to myself like I'm still singing to the Chris in 2020 that was broken and confused. And I'm telling you, it has really shaped my perspective on my mental state, on my spiritual posture, and my perspective all around, all across the board. No matter what's going on in my life, it is my dedication to myself to always choose gladness in the joy of the Lord versus anything else that I could.
I salute that. I salute that. I rock with you heavy. I rock with you heavy, Chris Bender. Like I said, I mean, as an artist, I love you as an artist. I love you as a person.
You too,
your music is phenomenal. I mean, as a writer, I mean, I'm listening to your music, and like I said, when I put on your music, you took me to a place growing up where my mom had the music in the house and the music was going. I had to start cleaning, like you said. And I think for a lot of us with Native Black Americans, you know, who have grown up very spiritual people, very spiritual people, and music has always been an important part of who we are. And you speak about your ancestors and your genetic makeup and your DNA, and I think a lot of that's in who you are.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. Every time that I grab the mic, it's my job to make sure that everybody experiences every piece of a deposit that has been made into my life over the last 26 years. And so you're going to feel the love of my grandmama. You're going to feel the laughter of my grandfather. You're going to feel the sternness of my mama. You're going to feel the strength of the Black church. You're going to feel the evolution of music, because I'm always trying to figure out what's coming next. And I'm always in the wave of what's that. You're going to feel it all, because it's my job to make sure that people don't just hear good music, but it's my job to ensure that people have an experience and an encounter. And so, yeah, as I'm pointing everybody back to Jesus, it's my job to make sure that you feel something that you've never felt before when I get the mic.
So how can the beautiful infinite creators follow you? What platforms are you on? How can they reach out to you? Let them know.
Yeah. Listen, y'all, first of all, thanks. I appreciate you, man, for having me on the show tonight. Yeah, I have had a blast. I love this.
Likewise.
And you know, it's always a good time talking with you. You know, when two Chris's come together, it's a good job. Yeah, man, listen, y'all, if you want to follow me, if you want to stay connected with me, I am everywhere that you can find anything or anybody, right? LinkedIn, ND, I'm just playing. You can stay connected with me via Instagram. My Instagram handle is I am Chris Bender, straightforward. I am Chris Bender. Also, my music ministry page on Instagram is Chris Bender Music. And then on Facebook, you can find me with the music page, Chris Bender Music. You can log on to my website that my good uncle has showed y'all a couple times, www.iamchrisbender.com. Very straightforward. You can find content, you can find music, you can find a little more information about who I am, where I'm from. I also got a little merchandise on there. You know, if you want to get your little t-shirt, go and support your boy and get it to
Nice too.
If you want to find me on YouTube, there's dozens of videos and presentations of music ministry on YouTube. If you search my name, Chris Bender, you're gonna find my phenomenal uncle, rest his soul, and then you're gonna find me too. And then you can also find every song that I've released over the last 5 years. You can find it on iTunes, you can find it on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Play. You can find it on Tidal, wherever you can find some music. Your boy is right there.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The incomparable, the one and only Chris Bender. Remember, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. But we don't care about the haters because we are infinite creators. Keep creating, keep evolving. All right? Keep creating, keep evolving. We're expecting big things out of you, Chris. I salute you, and I salute you.
I love you, dude. Thank you so much.
Thank you for showing up.
Yes, sir.
All righty, family.